Hi, if you have been following me for a while, you have probably noticed that I suddenly disappeared. No post, no stories, no updates, and if I'm being honest, I never wanted to disappear without saying anything. Because I don't just see you as my viewers. Over time, you have become a community that I genuinely care about. So before I post my new videos, any collaborations, or get back to my content creation, I think you deserve to know where I have been. The truth is, July became the hardest month of my life. It changed me in ways that I never expected, and it's the reason I wasn't online. So today, I want to tell you everything. To understand, we have to go back to the last few days of June. At the end of the June, I started feeling sick. At first, it was just a fever and a stomachache. I wasn't too worried because this had happened before, and usually some home medicines and taking rest would fix everything. But this time, nothing was working. Even after several days, I still had no energy. I was constantly tired and sleepy, and my body just didn't feel normal anymore. And that's when me and my family realized that this wasn't something we could ignore. My mom took me to the district hospital and the doctor examined me, gave me some medicines, and told me to get my blood test done. I will be honest, I was damn afraid. I have never liked blood tests, but at that moment, getting better was more important for me than being afraid. Looking back, one thing I will be always grateful for is my mom. She was the one who stayed with me through all the hospital visits, every test, and every moment. She never left my side. The next morning, I collected my blood report and went back to the doctor. He looked at my report and told me that I had a mild jaundice. Hearing that made me worried, but at least now we knew what was wrong. From that day, my routine completely changed. Strict diet, medicines on time, taking care of my health. I still remember coming back home that evening. My mom had made me this very simple meal, moong ki dal, roti, and mashed potatoes without any spices. It wasn't a bad meal, but I don't think that I have ever eaten a meal with so much gratitude. While eating, I remember silently praying to God, hoping that things would get better, and slowly they did. Day by day, I started feeling healthier again. I almost thought that the difficult part was over. I had no idea that life was about to change forever. Because on 4th of July, while I was at my work, I received a phone call that would change everything. It was 4th of July. While I was at work, we were almost done for the day and we were just packing up like any other night. Things felt unusual, but then suddenly my phone started ringing. I looked at the screen and saw that the call was from my cousin's sisters. That immediately felt strange. They never have called me like that. So I picked up the phone. The first voice I heard wasn't anybody saying what had happened. It was my mom. She was crying so hard that she could barely speak. For a few seconds, I couldn't even understand what she was trying to say. Then my sister took the phone and said, Bade Papa has collapsed. Bhaiya and uncle have taken him to the hospital. Please come home immediately. The moment I heard those words, my heart just sank. I didn't ask many questions. I just told them I'm coming. I informed my boss about the situation, rushed out of work, found an auto, and went home as fast as I could. When I reached home, I saw my mother, my aunt, my cousins were all sitting together. Everyone looked scared. Everyone was waiting. I just asked them what had happened. That's when I got to know everything. My father had come home around 7 in the evening, already feeling unwell. For years, he had been struggling with some serious health problems. He had been consuming alcohol from decades. The doctors had already warned him that his liver was badly damaged and that he needed to stop drinking. But addiction is never that simple. Over time, his health became worse and worse. There were days when he would just vomit blood, and there was days when he would just pass blood. These things had happened before, and every time we hoped that he would recover from all of this and would take his health seriously, but he never did. And at that night, everything became much worse. Within about an hour, he vomited several times, and after the last time, he collapsed onto the floor My brother and my uncle didn't waste a second. They picked him up and rushed to the nearest hospital. After all of this has occurred, I was at home with my mom, trying to stay strong for both of us. I kept telling her, everything is going to be okay, everything is going to be okay. Even through deep inside, I didn't knew if it was true. We kept calling our brother every few minutes for the updates and just hoping for my father to get well. But then we got to know that the first hospital has referred him to another hospital. Now that they have to take him through there because we all wanted him to get well. However, the hospital has referred him, it's okay. We are gonna take him to the another hospital where they have referred him because we want that person to get well. Then they took him there through a bike. Then you know what happened? That hospital even refused to admit him and referred him again. This is why I genuinely hate government hospitals. They would just refuse to admit a person who really needs high care at that moment, and you are literally referring the patient to a hospital, to another hospital. Like, but a bike wasn't a good option to go for another city with a person who was already in a highly critical condition. They arranged an ambulance, the ambulance arrived, and my mom also left with them. But before that, we hugged each other tightly. Neither of us said much. We just hoped that the next time we meet, Papa would be with us. That night, all we could do was to hold patience. That night, waiting was the hardest part. My oldest brother was in another city when all of this happened. He started doing a new job. The moment he heard about Papa's condition, he left everything behind and booked the earliest bus back home. But the journey itself was going to take almost 1.5 days. There was nothing he could do except keep calling us. Every few minutes, my phone would ring and he would ask any updates. And every time I had absolutely nothing to tell him because I was also waiting for updates from my other brother who was in the ambulance with my parents. Everyone was scared, everyone was hoping, and everyone was trying to stay strong for each other. I was past, there was nothing left for us to do except wait. By then, I was physically and mentally exhausted. I had just recovered from my own illness. I rushed from work to home, and my mind just couldn't process all the things that has happened in just a few hours. So I lay down for a while, and I don't even remember when I fell asleep. Then around 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up because of loud knocking on my door. It wasn't normal knocking, it was desperate. I opened the door, I saw my aunt and my cousins were standing there. They could barely speak. Then one of them said the words that I will never forget. Your father is no more. For a moment, I just stood there. I didn't know what to say, how to react. It felt like my mind has just gone completely blank. I didn't cry immediately. I felt like my mind had stopped working. And after all, the only question I could ask was, are they bringing him home? They quietly said yes, they're on the way. We all sat there waiting once again, but this time we weren't waiting for hope anymore. We were all waiting to say goodbyes. Then after some moment, the ambulance arrived. The moment I saw my mother, I knew everything. She was completely shattered. I have never seen someone so broken in my life. Papa's body was brought inside and laid onto the floor. Our family gathered around him. No one knew what to say, how to react. We just sat there beside him, crying, remembering him, trying to accept a reality that none of us were ready for. After the night slowly starts turning into the morning, people starts arriving. The neighbors, the family, the relatives, the people who had known my father for years. One by one, they came there to pay their last respects. And with every person who had walked through that door, the reality became hard for us to deny. Papa was gone. It became harder for me to just realize that this was actually happening. Soon the last rites began. I still remember when they picked up my father's body to take him to the Serum Mission ground. This was the last journey we would ever make with him. One thing that broke my heart was my mom. That woman literally lost her husband, and yet I'm seeing that she wasn't allowed to go to the Ceremission ground. Just because she is a woman, just because so-called stereotypical tradition says that women shouldn't be allowed at Ceremission grounds. I was standing there thinking how unfair that really felt. She wasn't allowed to be there to say her goodbye. I never agreed with these. So I wanted to question, I wanted to speak, but there was already so much pain around us. Later, when we reached the Ceremission ground, the last rites began, and my other brother, who had taken him to the hospital, did everything, was the one who did the last rites too. I remember they also asked me to help wash my father's body in the river Ganga. I walked towards him, and for the first time since that night, I saw his face properly. I completely broke down. His eyes had turned yellow. There was blood coming out of his body because of everything he had suffered. His illness had taken everything from him. I just stood there because no sons imagines seeing his father like that. Then my brother led the funeral pyre. We all stood there watching. My inner child couldn't just stop crying, unable to believe that somebody who had been with our whole lives is now leaving forever. But I remember before walking away, I closed my eyes and prayed in my mind that, dear Papa, I don't know where you are, but I hope that you find peace in wherever you are belonged next. Just know that I have always loved you and will always love you. Goodbye, Papa. Those were my last goodbyes to my father, and I can never forget it. Never. Those emotions were just unexplainable. And then when we came back home, nothing felt the same anymore. The days after that were some of the hardest days of my life. Not just because I had lost my father, but because life didn't stop. There were rituals, people coming in and out of the house, responsibilities, and 16 days of mourning traditions. During those 16 days, I saw things that made me question everything. You know what I heard? I heard people saying that the more women of the house would work on those days, the happier the soul of the died would be. I saw women waiting while men ate first. I kept asking myself how any of this measure love. Then came the day I knew would become another battle, the head shaving ritual. Everybody expected me to shave my head. I said no. Not because I didn't love my father. I loved him. I still do. I said no because I truly believe that if I respected my father yesterday, I would still respect him today, with or without my hair. Love doesn't live in here. It lives in the heart, but nobody understood that. Everyone tried convincing me. Then they started forcing me. People called me disrespectful. People said I was too young to question traditions. But still, I couldn't say yes. Then everything became too much. They tried snatching my hand to forcefully shave my head. And guess what? I ran away. I ran away. I just didn't know where I was going. I just wanted to get away. I kept walking, and I remember after hours of walking, when I reached somewhere I didn't even knew, I became so hungry because I didn't even had eaten anything that day, and like around 11 a.m. I had ran away. So I became so hungry that I had to ask a local shopkeeper if they had something to eat. I still remember for the packets of biscuit he gave me. I have never been so thankful for something so small in my life. Then reality hit me. I had no money, no plans, no place to go. Then I stopped for a moment and realized it wouldn't be easy to leave everyone and build everything on my own without having a single penny in my pocket. I was someone completely unindependent who's running away. So I decided to step back. But this time I wasn't going back home. Instead, I goes to the place where I used to work and I told them everything, and I genuinely felt that maybe I could get any help from them. I sat there for hours, kept asking myself, what do I'm gonna do now? What am I gonna do now? Where do I go? And what about my dreams? All of a sudden, both of my brothers founded me after searching for me in different streets, different markets. I was like, what now? But then they said, come home, nobody will force you. And as somebody who has been roaming around the city from the morning without no food, no water, nothing, I decided to go home. Somewhere I felt maybe they are gonna accept me, so I came back. But when I entered the house, I could feel the silence. Nobody shouted, nobody argued, but nobody talked to me either. I have never felt so alone while being surrounded by my own family. And the days after that were so silent yet torturing to my mental health. Everybody once again started questioning, arguing. I was called names. I was told you will be nobody's else. I have seen how much it makes people go mad when somebody is standing against the traditions that they have followed without ever questioning. I would run to my work whenever I felt pressed by my family. Later then came my father's final ceremony. I remember it was morning and we were all in our bedrooms resting. And in the morning, every arrangement started. Yes, people started coming in and relatives, families started coming in, and so does the priest. And the priest called me. I was resting in my bedroom until everyone started coming up to me and saying, go urgently, the priest has called you. So I met him. He looked at me and said, if you aren't going to shave your head, you cannot take part in your father's final rites. And even he said that me as a priest, he as a priest wouldn't be able to participate in the final rites because it goes against the rules. I tried convincing, I cried, I requested. Nothing changed. And that's when I lost. Not because my beliefs changed, but because I didn't want it my father's final ceremony to become another scene. I went in to get money and I felt completely lost. All I felt was how these rules, traditions, rituals, stereotypes affects us mentally. Later, I went to the barber. I still remember watching my hairs fall on the ground. People think I cried because I lost my hair. No, hair grows back. I cried because for the first time in my life, I felt what it is like to lose the right to choose for myself. And that day, something inside me changed forever. When I look back at July, I don't just remember losing my father. I remember being sick physically and emotionally in ways I didn't even understand at that time. I remember my mom carrying that unimaginable pain and realizing that strength doesn't always look loud. It often looks like silence, endurance, and continuing even when everything inside you is breaking. I remember questioning traditions that I had never questioned before and then feeling guilty for even questioning them. And I remember discovering parts of myself that I have never met before. Parts that were confused, angry, grieving, stubborn, and deeply human. More than anything, this month has taught me one lesson that I will carry for the rest of my life. I want to become truly independent. Not because I want to leave my family, not because I want distance, but because I want to build a life where I can make my own decisions with dignity and responsibilities, and where I don't lose my own voice in moments that matters most to me. During this time, I also wasn't able to post anything online because my phone was taken away from me. It was a really difficult time for me because I felt like I had been disconnected from my work and my creative spaces. But now I'm slowly finding my way back. I'm currently shooting with my mom's phone, and I have managed to convince my family to give me a period of time to continue creating and make my dreams come true. I don't know how to put this perfectly into words, but even this support means a lot to me right now. Even if it's for just a short while. As a queer person who expresses themselves freely and flamboyantly through reels, I was already being judged by the society and I was already going through the loss of my father. Instead of support, I felt distance, and even my brother took my phone away from me, which meant I lost complete access to my content creation. But coming back now is my way of saying that even if something is taken away from me, even if I'm silenced for a while, I can still rebuild it. I can still create and I can still return stronger with my voice intact. This experience changed the way I see life. It reminded me that tomorrow is never promised, that the people we love won't be always here, even when we assume that they will be. And every single day we get to live with them is something we should never take for granted, even in the smallest moment. If you have been wondering where I have been, this is why. Thank you for giving me the time to heal, even when I didn't had the words to explain what I was going through. Thank you for waiting for me, and thank you for being here, for listening to my story. This isn't just my return to my content creation. It's the beginning of a new journey. It's the beginning of a new chapter in my life, and I hope that you will be here to walk that journey with me. Okay, I will see you in the next one. Bye.